I bought this bench for $69. And for the price, it more than impressed me. However, there's a few things about this bench that I didn't typically like, and I'll get to that later. So it's time to upgrade. This is the Flyboard adjustable bench, and it costs double the amount as the Lesper bench. And today, we're gonna see if it's worth the money. We will compare these two benches' flexibility, under load, build quality, adjustability, and finally talk about if this Flyboard bench is worth double the price. First, let's go over the dimensions of the benches. So the Flyboard bench, 49 inches long. The Lesper is 44.5. The upper torso on the Lesper is 29 inches. Upper torso on the Flyboard is 30.5. The seat itself is 17 versus 13. The thickness of the Flyboard is 10 inches versus 11 inches. Now you might think the thicker bench is the better bench. However, I highly disagree with that. The main reason you get a bench is probably for chest press and exercises like that. So when you're bench pressing, you want to have full range of motion of your shoulder blades throughout the whole bench press. With this bench being on the thinner side, it doesn't get in the way of the shoulder blades as much as the Lesper. If you are a larger person, you might have a different opinion than me. So the Flyboard bench is probably 20-30% heavier than the Lesper bench. And that's for good reason, because the adjustability on this bench is superior compared to the Lesper. So let's go ahead and compare its adjustability between the two benches. Let's start with the Lesper bench. And that's all the way up to a full 90-degree angle, which is nice. Then you can't really do it with one hand, it's pretty difficult, but it goes all the way to a full decline, just like that, so that's very nice. And then of course, you have these little foot things, which are honestly a little awkward, but they're doable. I don't really like doing abs like this, but just for demonstration. The seat is fixed, and of course you can pull this pin out, and the whole bench will fold in half, which is good for storage. Now let's go over the Flyboard. I am thoroughly impressed with it. So, the Flyboard, you can adjust the top portion of the bench by pulling this out, sliding down. We got full decline, just like the Lesper. However, the Lesper, I think the decline is a bit steeper. Pull the pin out, come all the way up, stops here, stops there. Then you can come all the way up to a complete 90 degrees. Unlike the Lesper, the seat is also adjustable. You can come all the way down if you wanted to, up and up. So it has 3 different settings. That is nice for an inclined bench if you're doing that. Even this little foot peg is adjustable. By the way, it feels significantly better than the Lesper. All you have to do is pull out this pin and adjust it to whatever you feel is best. And finally, something I was really surprised to see, the feet are also adjustable. Each foot is adjustable independently. And finally, we can pull this pin out and fold it up for storage, just like the Lesper. Pull this pin in, lay that flat, pull this pin in, lay that flat. So this can fold into a very compact size, unlike the Lesper, which is still pretty thick. So the Flyboard build quality is significantly better than the Lesper. The Lesper is all square tubing, it is lighter, and it's also less framing. The Flyboard has a lot more framing. Look at the Lesper. We have 2 bars running down on each side. The way it inclines and declines is with this little bar. It looks pretty thin, but it does hold weight pretty fine. And you get 1 bar coming down and through, and 1 bar with cross beams on the seat. And finally, the legs. The Flyboard, on the other hand, has 2 beams come down the middle, has a thicker bar that inclines and declines the top of the seat, which is nice. That definitely gives me a lot more confidence. And this comes down, pivots here. This joint is also thicker compared to the Lesper. And the seat actually has 2 bars coming down the middle, which is much nicer than that flimsy looking stuff. This is how the feet adjust. The metal on the feet is a lot thicker compared to the Lesper. One build quality aspect of these benches, especially at cheaper price, is the material used on the back of these seats. You can kind of tell how thick that wood is by knocking on it. Versus, so this one does sound like a thicker, stronger piece of wood on the back. And finally, I want to talk about the spacing between these bars on the back. So the space is 3.5 inches on the Lesper versus 4 on the Flyboard. Not only is the Flyboard a thinner backing, it also has the beams spanned out further. So this will be a more stable bench. But let's go ahead and test out the flexiness of these benches. And we will do that with the bench press. Okay, that's when I can really tell how flexy the Lesper bench is. 135, pretty easy weight. Chest up, core tight, press on up. Yeah, I'm already like wobbling left and right. Okay, yeah. So I actually went up to 225 on this bench, and it was probably one of the more sketchy things I've done. Although the weight capacity does say it has 660 pounds, maybe in a perfect idea situation. With 225 on the bar, doing sets of 5, it was just a bit sketchy in my opinion. I did not think it was gonna break and fall apart. It was just sketchy, that's all. I weigh 175 pounds. So as you can see, the entire frame flexes and moves around. Out with the old, in with the new. Let's see how this feels. The bench already feels so much nicer. Oh yeah. "100 times better. I'm not wobbling left and right." So good. So it's moving, but it's definitely not moving as sketchily as the other bench. Not only is the build quality on the Flyboard bench significantly better than the Lesper, it has much more adjustability. I feel a lot more secure and confident in it. And it even folds down to much more of a compact size. So if you have an at-home gym to a small footprint when you're not using it, this bench is a solid choice. If you want to see me review this rack, then check out this video. This is Chris, always appreciate and respect another. I'll see you next time.